In this video, we're going to be putting a catch can on this 2015 Chevy Silverado. So like I said, this is my 2015 Chevy Silverado. It's got the 5.3 engine in it. We're going to be putting a catch can on here, and I'm about to get this out and show you what brand it is, tell you why I went with that brand, and go through the install. So let's get into it. So the particular brand, I got my phone on the stand here, and it's really windy today, so y'all excuse that. But let's just see. Let's get the can out. The one I went with is the UPR Products catch can. So the reason I went with this can is before I had a 2011 Dodge Challenger with the 5.7 Hemi, and it had some kind of catch can with it, and it utilized a basically like steel wool to trap the vapors. Now, so if you don't know catch can, if you look this video up, you probably do, but so on modern engines, a lot of them are direct injection. This one is direct injected, and so was my Challenger, if I'm not mistaken. So used to the oil, the gas air, fuel air mixture would flow over the valves into the cylinder, and so when the PCV, you have oil vapors from your crankcase suck up through the PCV valve and come through, and the vacuum sucks them into the intake and go into the cylinder and burns them off. Well, before you had fuel and air mixture go over the valve, so when it sucked the oil vapors over it, and you'd get on the valves, but the fuel would kind of keep it clean. Well, the direct injection doesn't do that. It just has air and oil vapors going over the valves. So over time, it could probably gunk up a little faster or a lot faster. I don't know. Somebody needs to tear one of these down and look. Take one with a catch can for say 100,000 miles and one without one, and just look and see, what the difference is. That would be a great video. I right now don't have the resources to do it. Otherwise I would do it. But some of y'all that do tear downs all the time, we need to see that. Somebody's got plenty of money. But anyway, so it had one, and so what traps the when it sucks up, it runs into the catch can first and then back out and into the intake. So the catch can catches the oil vapors, and so clean air is going in. And on these particular ones, apparently they have one over here but it's the clean side, and then they tie into the air box here on each side to the intake. I'm not really sure but they're pretty clean. I've pulled them off, so they're clean. I don't know, it's just the dirty side that comes straight from the PCV or whatever, or they call it the dirty side. The one that was on my Challenger had basically steel wool, and it didn't work very well. And I looked up some different ones. This one has a different style chamber here. And actually this one's a little different than one on my Challenger. And my Challenger, it was bigger, but of course cost, I'll go through some of that in a second. The cost, it was about twice as tall, and through one oil change, it would fill up maybe a third or half of this. So this would probably, I don't know how much to do. I'll check it halfway through an oil change just to see. I only want to dump this out every oil change. That's it. So, 5,000 miles, we'll check about halfway through and just see how much is in here. And if it'll go through a whole oil change, cool. If not, whatever, no big deal necessarily. But anyway, I guess you can make more products and keep the price of these the same without raising the price like everything else. So they made them shorter. But anyway, the other chamber kind of had a step down, like one come down longer, and then one was a little shorter here, but it was like that. This side was just longer. I don't know, I guess maybe it's got a honeycomb design, and so did the other one. I guess I'll look up for a Challenger. I don't know if they're different for each model. I know the hoses and the mounting brackets and all that are different, but I'll look up for a Challenger and just see the pictures and see if there's a different design on it. But anyway, it's a little different. I guess maybe this is a little newer design. It does just as good without having that kind of a longer design. I don't really know what the point of that other one was anyway, because it's basically the same up in here. It sucks through and then come back up and out. So I don't know, maybe when it came through, it trapped it a little different. I'm not sure. We'll look that up and see. But it was a UPR, and it was good, and it did great. And I have a video on that on my YouTube shorts and my Challenger if y'all want to check that out. Do you need a catch can? So if you see the oil that came out of that one, this is why I'm putting one on here, because it was some nasty black stuff I do not want going back over my valves in my intake and burning off of my engine. So anyway, there's this design, like a honeycomb design. If you notice these, the Chevy, they have these quick connect, you know, you see there, factory. And they had these to replace them, to you know, connect on there, if it'll focus. A little different style there, but it connects on there to the PCV. Now with one of my Challenger, this end went on the truck or on the car because, you know, they didn't have any kind of quick connects on there. It was just the hoses. These, however, have them, so that goes on there, and then the hose end goes on the catch can side. Now it's got these pieces here, and I think these are plastic now. They used to be aluminum. On my Challenger, they were aluminum. You slide these over so that when you know, put these on here, it squeezes down tight, and this keeps your rubber from over time just expanding and leaking a little oil residue around it, which is what the first one I had was doing on my Challenger. So I really like this. I dropped it. I really like this design. Now, the one on my Challenger had quick connects on the catch can side and had different fittings, and these different models, if you look on their website, they have different fittings on certain catch cans for different model trucks or cars. So I'm assuming, you know, that just depends on whether the truck engine itself has factory quick detach or not. But I would have liked to have seen, this is pre-cut, I would have liked to have seen the factory ones for the truck and then the other kind on here. And I'm sure you could probably come up with some way to change these out and put them on there after you get them where you want them. But I'm not going to do that unless maybe it started leaking around this. But these worked pretty good on my Challenger, so I'm going to go with these. But that's the only thing I would have liked to see. But cost-effective plastic versus aluminum, less material here, so you can, you know, keep the cost down without jacking the prices up, I guess. Which, you know, that's fine. And you can buy replacement ones of these from their website. I would have liked to see, you know, a little bit more storage here. Aluminum these, and the quick connects on them for here. But it's cool, whatever. We're going to install this one, and we're just going to make it work. It's fine. But it comes with the two pre-cut hoses. I guess another reason why they didn't put the quick connects on both sides is so you could shorten it up a little bit, cut the hose where you need it when you mount it. So that's fine. So let's and it also comes with some paperwork and a handy dandy sticker, baby. I love some stickers. But it comes with products, tells you, I mean, the paper stuff, it tells you check what's on here, you know, the maintenance for it, and the O-ring, don't over tighten all that. When I pulled this off the first time when I first got in, it was tight. But I'll rub a little bit of oil, kind of like you do with an oil filter, just around there when I put it on, so it'll seal good and not tear the O-ring. So I'm sure you can buy replacement O-rings, because I know you can buy replacement these and hoses and all that. So you could pretty much mount it wherever, but the driver's side here, for the PCV, I'm going to mount right here with that bolt for the can, like this, and it's not tall enough, you know, it's short enough to go right there. So I'm gonna mount it right there in whatever orientation here and run my hoses over, and I'll show you that in a second. But first, we're going to have to loosen this clamp, pull these off, and pull this air box off. You can take it off completely over there, but I'm probably just gonna flex it over and set it up there, and we'll get in that in just a second. But there's a tab on the bottom of this one, and on top of that one, you just press it and pop them off, spin them over out of the way. And this here, I think is a 5/32. I'm not sure. You can use a flathead just to loosen this, and we're gonna pull it off and move it out of the way real quick, and then we'll get into the rest of it. So I think I said 5/32. I meant 5/16. And I just have a 1/4 inch like nut driver type deal here, and it works better than the flathead to me. So first, let me pull these. Let me set you up where you can see a little better. Now you can see a little bit of clean oily residue in that, and I'll look at this one too, but it's not like super bad. So So if you look at that side also, it has a little bit, not much. So I don't know why it has all these different ones. I don't know why I don't have just one PCV that routes to the intake. This would fix all of that problem. But on these newer trucks, well, that's how my Challenger was. But anyway, on these newer trucks, you have a couple different attachments. And I'm sure maybe with an intake, this is factory intake, but if you did like a cold air, which again, this is basically cold air from the factory, it's just got this box set up. If you had a replacement one, it does away with this box, it may cap those off. I don't know. You could probably pop that one off and just plug them off or cap them off, whatever, with some of those, be done with it, and basically write it where it only has the one from the PCV. But I want to leave for all this factory. I'm not doing a aftermarket cold air intake. To me, that's a waste of money. Just drop a K&N air filter in if you want to do that, but it doesn't clean as good as the paper one either, so more maintenance. But anyway, that's unrelated to this, so we're just gonna get into this real quick. That's one connection there, if you can see that connector there. So what we're gonna do is gonna unhook this one first and spin it around so that button is up, because it's on the bottom side of that one, where we can get to that one a little easier because it's got stuff in the way, which you can disconnect that connector and all too. But get that out of there, and then we'll get to installing the can and then hooking that up. But that's the one there, and that's the other one. I'm about to be blocking your view anyway, leaning over here, so I'm just gonna cut to where I get it off. So a tip for getting this one off, take some channel locks and loosen it up to about I think it's the second notch there, and put it in there just like this. Just squeeze it together and take your other hand and pull it up, because it's really tight in there, and the button was like on the, I'm sorry, I can't see it, up on the back side there. You know, I have bigger hands and I couldn't get in there to push it, so I just squeezed it with this and popped it right off. So there's just a tip on that. So what I did was got this kind of finagled around that connector wire here and twisted it up so back there you can get to it. All right, so what I did was take a flathead screwdriver, because I couldn't get these in there, reached over the top here and just pried up against, pushed down the button with the screwdriver, and then pulled this in straight at the same time, and it popped right off. So now this should slide right out of there. There we go. Oh, instead just go out, kind of come out between that connector there and up front. So this bolt over here is a 13 millimeter. We're gonna loosen that up and pop this can in there. Take my can. It won't go because of that. It's supposed to fit in there, but you see, well, it may go. We'll try like that. I may have to bend this, I'll put it in a vise. I may have to bend this tab down. I don't know if it's aluminum. I guess it's anodized, whatever you call it. It's not paint. How do you say that? I don't know. Y'all let me know how y'all pronounce that. But anyway, flex this down a little bit so it's not hitting. So it actually ended up just kind of flexing it there, but whatever, as long as it's pretty level, I'm cool with it. And you can see where I was talking about, hold on, the washer kind of gouging that out a little bit. As long as it sits flat, it is what it is. There ain't no returning it now. I'm just gonna snug it. Yeah, that's flat there. I can deal with it. So first things first, I'm gonna clip these down there where they go, and then make sure if I need to cut these off to go in there or not. Let me get these routed and clipped on first. Okay, so one thing about these, you just clip it on there and it's good. If you see in here, it's tapered, so you just push it on there and you hear it snap in place and it's latched on. Problem versus this is you have to push on both sides to pull it out. There's 2 buttons instead of 1. Actually, even better, you can get your finger through that hole on one side and your finger down here on the other side, squeeze them both and pull them off. That's even better. No tools required. But I've already had to take it off because my stupid self didn't pay attention to it. They're slightly different lengths. Short one. I may have to cut both of them off. I don't know, but short one on this side, long one down here. Make sure you don't mess that up. There we go. Snapped on there if you can hear it. And yeah, probably gonna have to shorten it up too, which is fine, but that's a little better angle there. If you can see or not, I don't know, but that's on there like that. That's the way I run it, behind this wire, but over the top of this big one, because the big one was keeping it from flexing on there. And then, go back out. So this will go there. We'll get the air box lined up there and just kind of see where it's at. But it's clipped on there and it's clipped on there, so we're good. We're gonna install the air box back on, hook that up, and then just kind of see where I want to route this up to the can here. If you can see there, looks like that. It's got a connector on the top and then one on the side. That one's more expensive, and it looks like a taller can, and it looks like it's got a drain on the bottom. This one's a little cheaper, and I can see why. It does not have the top, but the only difference I can see, other than, you know, this one being shorter and without a drain, which doesn't really matter to me as far as the drain, is it says it has a check valve. But this one doesn't have an arrow, doesn't have a check valve that I can tell, none of that. Like, I don't understand why they would put a check valve anyway, because it sucks one way, it doesn't go the opposite way, so it really doesn't matter. Which, if you can see here in this particular one, the more expensive one, it does have quick connects on top and side. So, you know, I guess this is the more budget friendly option here, which is what I went with. So that's why it doesn't have all the connectors on there, and the smaller can, all of that. They have two different ones, one for budget friendly and one a little more expensive with quick connects and all the bells and whistles. Slide that right back up on there and snug it down. Pop in place without actually having, same kind of way, you don't have to push the button in. But I'm going to bring it above this instead of under it and tie in here, and then this one loop around, tie in there. I'm gonna have to cut these hoses off a little bit. For a faster, straighter, you know, whatever cut, you can get some PVC pipe cutters to cut this with. I have some, but just not here with me. So I did it with a razor blades, but the only thing is, once you come out on, kind of cuts that. I mean, I guess you could go all the way around, but you gotta try to keep it straight. So, but just for the sake of this today, I'm using a razor blade. So it just slides over the top of it like that. And you look at it, I got a pretty decently straight cut, enough to get by. And then you just push it up on, and it may help to use a little bit of, I'll just spit a little bit on, use a little bit of lubrication on that to help it slide in. And press it all the way up on there. And once it's bottomed out, like I said, once it's bottomed out, it squeezes out the rubber hose, bottoms out against this, so over time it doesn't stretch more and get loose and leak and all that. So that's a good design there. All right, we'll snug that bolt up behind there real quick. All right. Well, there she be. Wait a minute, you gotta say, move it a little bit and say that ain't going nowhere. All right, because I'm a dad, you know how that is, I'm a dad jokester. So there she is, she's installed and done. I'm gonna do a little research. I'm gonna do an updated video and show y'all how much comes out of this. But in the meantime, I'm gonna do a little research, see exactly what these is for. Like I said, it's got some clean oil in there. I don't know, maybe that's for some kind of lubrication, or if GM's like, screw it, the aftermarket always just goes around what we do, so we're just making it even harder for them. So I don't know, I mean, it seems like they do that sometimes if you ever work on any vehicles. But look up some research on the aftermarket intakes and see what these do whenever they, see what they do with those when you install one of those with their kits. Anyway, I'll just do some research. I'm going to do an update when I do my oil change. I'll check it halfway through to see how much is in there. If it's only, you know, half full, I'll run it till the end of the do it when I do the oil change, show you how much is in there, how nasty it is, and I'll tell you my findings on my research for this other stuff and give my opinion, which, you know, is just that, my opinion on some of this stuff. it's a good clean look. You know, it's black, so I got the black can. Everything looks nice, and it's factory pretty much, so it's nice. And we'll see how much it catches and all that. So that's gonna wrap it up for the catch can video here. Oh, one more thing I forgot to mention. In the wintertime, it catches up, you know, when your engine sits and then it runs, you have some little water evaporation, and it'll catch that too, it says. So in the wintertime, you need to, especially if it's around freezing temperature, empty that out a little more often, because the water vapors in there can freeze. It's mixed with a little oil, so it probably won't freeze, but it just says it could damage it if it freezes a lot in there. So I just thought I'd throw that in there for y'all. So anyway, there's the catch can install. Hope y'all enjoyed it. Y'all check them out. They got some pretty good products. There's also a couple other companies. I'll shut up and quit rambling on. So y'all have a good one.